everyone. I just wanted to make a video for you guys because I get asked all the time how I build the bases for my round tables. I'm going to teach y'all how I do it if you don't want to half lap joints, because a lot of people have difficulties with that and they don't know how to do it. They waste wood, they mess up wood, and it's just frustrating. So this way, or this technique, is without using the half lap method. Yes, the half lap method is much stronger over time, and it is what is preferred by most builders, professional builders. It's what I do for most of my projects, but trying to teach it for people out there who aren't as advanced and still want to build something that's still going to be extremely strong and last you a good long time, and you can build it yourself at home. So the materials that we are going to be using, of course, is our wood. Everything is either 2x4s, 1x4s, or a 4x4. I have milled everything down to 3 1/4 inches wide and 1 1/4 inches thick. All the cuts are just 90-degree and 45-degree cuts, nothing fancy. I will be sharing the link to the plans in the description below, so make sure to check that out so that way you can see the measurements for each piece that I'm going to be using. This table is going to be for a 5-foot, this table base is going to be for a 5-foot round table. So if you're going to be doing a smaller table or a bigger table, you'll probably need to adjust your measurements accordingly. I usually do about 40% with whatever the top is. So since this top is 60 inches wide, I made my base 28 inches, I believe. So that way it's not like too big, but it still looks proportional. It's still gonna be sturdy. It's still gonna withstand if someone were to lean on the side of the table, all that fun stuff. So let's get into what you're gonna need to build this. So of course, all of your supplies. I have my 4 feet for the bottom of the table. I have the center beam for the table. This is a 4x4. I cut this at 20.5 inches. These are going to be the 1x material that is going to go on the top part that will secure to the post, as you'll see once we start to build. These are all of the support pieces, so these are going to be the braces that go at the 45s. So 8 of those. Then we have the pieces that will go on top of the 1x material. And then we have our long arms. So a lot of people, I've never seen anyone do this actually. I created this design myself. This is going to be the top of the base. So the table is 60 inches wide and this is 45 inches. So this just will add more support. So if you do lean on the side of the table, that is just going to help support it. So that is all of the wood pieces. And then what you'll need to actually build it is measuring tape. I use Titebond Ultimate Wood Glue. This stuff is awesome. I have my 2 drills, one with my drill bit in it and one with my driver bit in it, and just a Phillips head driver bit. I have my airless nailer, 18 gauge nailer with 2-inch nails in it. I have my Woodpecker's Delft Square, and I have my 2-inch wood screws. So you're also going to need a pin. I didn't grab a pin. All right, and a pin. All right, so the first step is going to be getting your center post, the 4x4, using your tape measure. Find the center. So I have a really cool tape measure. It's by Lufkin. They discontinued the pink ones, so I'm sorry, but if you go on Amazon, I have links below. It's called a self-centering tape measure. This thing has saved my life. If you measure something, it will literally show you the half mark. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So for instance, 2, you see the 1 underneath it, 3, 1.5 underneath it, and so on. So whatever you're measuring, it will tell you what the center point is. How awesome is that? So link is below if you want to get one of these. I believe they are like orange now, so they're not pretty anymore, but they're a lifesaver. So I'm going to measure and mark. So 3 1/4 is 1 5/8. There. So now I have my center marked on the post. Then I'm going to grab my 1 by, and this should be 28 inches, but we're going to double check. Yep, 28 inches, so half is 14, so we'll mark 14 there. So now I have the center here and the center here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some wood glue all over that, and then to spread it out, I like using my handy dandy glue roller. It's a little bit easier than a brush. So we just spread that all around, and then I'm going to switch this around so I can see. I'm going to line up the half with the half, making sure it is evenly on there. Once it is, I'm going to use my brad nailer and just pop 2 brad nails in there. That will hold it into place so it doesn't move. And then going to go back with my drill bit and do 4, 1 in each corner. Grab my screws and screw those in. So once that piece is on, we're going to grab our little square and measuring out 1 5/8 from the side, we're going to square that up and draw a line. Same thing for the other side. Line that up, draw a square, and then mark the half going the opposite way. So 1 5/8 going the opposite way. So now I have the lines corresponding to where it's going to line up with the center post, and then I marked my half right here on that line. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip it this way, and we're going to grab the piece that looks like this. So 2 45s on either side, and we are going to mark the center on this using our same thing. We are going to put our glue all over that, use our roller to distribute it nice and evenly. And then we're going to line up the center mark here with the center mark here going perpendicular. Just like that. Using our brad nailer, we'll shoot one in, and then using our square, we will come to the other side, make sure that is square, and then pop the other one in. So now it is held in there. We're going to do our 4 screws again. All right, so now you you should have something that looks like this. So, since we're not half lapping, now we need the two pieces that are going to go on this side that are going to be the same as this long piece. So, what I did is I measured this piece, subtracted 3 1/4 inch, and then divided it by 2 to get the measurements for these pieces. So, what we're going to do is we are going to just make sure that they fit, which they do. Add some wood glue. To either side. Use our roller. Get a nice even coat of glue on there. Alright, and then once we do that, we are going to line it up and pop 2 to hold it in place. Alright, and go back with our screws. The first side's hard to do because you can't really balance it. Once we flip it over, the other side will be much easier because it'll be more stable. Alright, so I did 4 in each corner, so 2 here and 2 at the end. And since this is 1 1/4 inch and this is 3/4 of an inch, these screws won't go through. And then after you screw it in, your nails might stick up a little bit. So all you have to do is just tap those down with a hammer. And everything is nice and flat. So this is gonna be the bottom of our table. So what we're gonna do is going this way. So now we're going to cross the other long section. We are going to get the long piece with the flat ends and put it going this way. So that way when we screw it in, it's nice and sturdy. And then for this bottom piece, I did 2 on each end, 1 in the center, and then 1 in between the center and the end. All right, and then we're going to rotate it, and then the same thing we did on the other side, we have our pieces that are the halves, so we're going to add those on now. Since this is going to be the bottom of the table, we need to add our feet. So these are just square pieces, 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So what we're going to do is just put some glue on there, use the roller, make sure it's even, and then we're going to line that up with the end, and using our nailer, just nail it down in there just like that. And we'll do that for all 4. All right, so now the bottom side is pretty much done. So we're going to flip it over. And as you can see, well, my outfeed table is a little bit, let me get it on the table here. As you can see, it is not wobbly. So here we go. Not wobbling. My table, my soft stop is perfectly flat. So that is the benefits to having machinery that you can mill it straight, because you won't have that wobble. If you do have a little bit of wobble, or you have wobbly floors, you can get the self-leveling feet for the bottoms of the feet. Luckily, I have only needed to use those a couple of times with people who lived in really, really old houses and had wobbly floors. The table itself was not wobbly. As you can see, it's perfectly flat. But in case you need those, they're like, I don't know, a few bucks. I'll post a link in the description for those as well. So now let's get to finishing the bottom part. So we don't have the 1x pieces on either side of here, just like the half pieces on other sides. So 2 half pieces, what we're gonna do, what do we say? Glue, roll, nail. So actually for those pieces, you won't screw them in because you don't want to see the screw head. The glue and the nails will suffice, especially because once we add our cross braces, this is going to be screwed down into it, which will act as a screw holding that in. So that's the only piece that you will not screw down. You will just use wood glue and nails. So we are going to do the same thing for the top now, using our method that we used on the bottom, and then I will come back to show you how to do the cross braces. All right, now that we have the top pieces on, I haven't done the long arms yet just because I wanted to have this up here to show you guys how I attach the braces. So what you're gonna need in addition to what we already have is some 3/8 inch button plugs and then a countersink bit. I actually broke the tip off of this, but the actual part that drills the countersink portion is still there. So I'm just going to use my regular drill to drill the original hole and then go from there. But I will show you how I do this. So you are going to grab 4, this is the top side, so if there's any that look not as pretty, then I usually use those for the top side, just because you're not going to see those as much as you will the bottom side. So these are the 4 pretty ones, and when I say my pretty, like this one has like a little knot there that will eventually fill and whatnot, but these are more clear, so you don't have to do that. I just choose to do that. So what we're going to do is get our glue, put glue on each end, and then instead of the roller this time, I usually just use my finger since it's a small area to spread it out evenly. And I'm bad, I wipe it on my legs, don't judge. And then I just line that up to where it is nice and flush. I hold it there, grab my nailer, and then do 2 nails on each side. All right, so once we have all 4 on, then I'm just going to come halfway down just a little bit and screw in to the base and the center post. And then after I drill come in with my countersink bit. Again, if you have a countersink bit that you didn't break the tip off of, then you don't have to do this two-step process. The original drill will suffice. And then we're going to grab our screws. And drill them in. And after we have all of the screws in, we're going to go back with our button plugs. And again, this is 3/8 inch, and my countersink was a 3/8 inch as well. Grab your wood glue and just fill the holes. Not all the way up because you don't want it squirting out once you put the button plug in, but I would say about halfway. So once you have the glue in, grab your button plugs and your hammer and you just line it up and gently tap it in until it is flat. All right, so that's top, and then we'll go back with some wood filler and fill in all of the nail holes. So let's flip over. And we'll do the same for the bottom now. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the supporting arms. So we're gonna mark halfway on the side. Again, the long arm is gonna go here to hold down the two half pieces. And then we're gonna go ahead and do the other two arm pieces. So. All right, so now that we have all of our pilot holes drilled, we can screw in our screws. All right, and that is your base. So the next thing you want to do before you add your top is I have a biscuit joiner from DeWalt that I'll link down below. And you want to create little slots on the sides. So on right here, right here, right here, right here. So on all the ends, so a total of 8. And that is what is going to hold your tabletop onto your base. These are called Z-clips. They are little clips that look like a Z. They have a hole in one side and nothing on the other. These are what secures my tabletops to the base. So we cut that slit with our biscuit joiner, and then the side without the hole, you're going to place in that slot, and then the side with the hole, so your top is going to be like this. The side with the hole is going to screw into the top, and it is going to hold it nice and snug to the base. And you're probably asking, you know, why can't you just screw through here or whatever? This little guy allows for wood movement over time, both that way and that way. So I put 2 on each arm, and this will allow during seasonal wood movement for the wood to slightly expand, contract, whichever direction it wants to go. So these are a lifesaver if you don't want your tops to crack and warp over time. So here is your finished base, and that is only using 3 power tools, and really you only need 2 if you just switch out your drill bit and your driver bit, but pretty easy. You can do this at home if you have been wanting to build a table. Tag me at Glam Farmhouse on Instagram, or comment below, share with your friends. I'd love to see pictures of the tables that you create. Sorry for the background noise, my neighbor is mowing his lawn, but this is how the finished table looks. I will do another video on how I do my tops. They are a little difficult to explain, and I don't want this already long video to turn into like a really long video. So I will talk about how the top is done in a different video, but this is some white oak, super pretty.